Welcome to Bo Eminent Channel. Collective consciousness is a concept that straddles the line between philosophy, sociology, and, depending on how you define it, neuroscience and physics. The scientific truth part gets tricky, because some interpretations are supported by research, while others remain speculative. Let's break it down into three main layers: sociological and psychological basis, well supported. The term collective consciousness was popularized by French sociologist Émile Durkheim in the late 19th century. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel. He used it to describe the shared beliefs, morals, and attitudes that unify a society. Real-world examples: social norms, cultural values, national identity. Vidence. Psychology and sociology show that human behavior is heavily influenced by group norms and social scripts. Mechanism. Through language, media, and social interaction, ideas spread and shape how groups think and act, sometimes faster than individuals could arrive at those ideas alone. Think of it as a cultural operating system, running in the background of a society. Cognitive science and network theory, emerging evidence. Some researchers extend the idea into cognitive science. When Émile Durkheim first spoke of collective consciousness over a century ago, he wasn't imagining some mystical mind cloud floating above humanity. He meant the shared beliefs, values, and moral attitudes that bind societies together, the invisible glue that lets strangers cooperate as if they were part of the same family. In his view, the mind of a society was more than the sum of individual minds. It was like an invisible thread, spun from countless conversations, traditions, and rituals, weaving people into a common reality. Modern science has taken that old sociological idea and placed it under new lights. Cognitive scientists now speak of distributed cognition, the idea that thinking doesn't happen only in our heads. It happens in the spaces between us, in our tools, our technology, and our networks. A Wikipedia article, a viral social media post, or even the way an idea moves through a community can be thought of as a neuron firing in a much larger, human-scale brain. Researchers studying network theory see patterns here that resemble the firing of neural pathways. In moments of crisis, like earthquake detection through aggregated smartphone sensors or the lightning-fast spread of medical discoveries, this supermind seems to awaken, processing and acting faster than any single person could. But beyond the measurable and mechanical lies the more controversial frontier. Some thinkers and physicists have speculated that consciousness might have a deeper, non-local nature, that our minds could, under certain conditions, be linked in ways not explained by language or technology. Proposals like the OR theory of quantum consciousness suggest that quantum processes in the brain might, in principle, allow information to be shared instantaneously across distances. While such ideas inspire science fiction and spiritual movements alike, mainstream science remains cautious. There is no replicable evidence of a literal, thought network, binding us telepathically. Stories of the so-called 100th monkey effect, or collective epiphanies are compelling, but they remain anecdotes rather than proof. What is clear is that humanity moves and reacts in ways that suggest a form of shared mind, at least metaphorically. Culture shapes thought, thought shapes behavior, and behavior loops back into culture, creating a self-sustaining mental ecosystem. Whether that is purely the result of communication and imitation, or a hint of something deeper, is still an open question. And it is in that uncertainty, half proven, half imagined, that the scientific and the poetic meet, leaving us to wonder whether the hum of human connection is simply the noise of many voices, or the whisper of one great mind. For as long as people have told stories around campfires, they've felt the strange pull of being part of something bigger than themselves. Ancient tribes called it the spirit of the people. Modern sociologists gave it a name: collective consciousness. When Emil Durkheim introduced the term in the late 1800s, he described it not as magic, but as a social force, the shared beliefs, morals, and values that knit individuals into a functioning whole. It was, in his view, the heartbeat of a society, unseen yet vital. In the centuries since, the idea has shifted from philosophical musing to scientific inquiry. Psychologists have shown how people's thoughts, emotions, and even perceptions can align in groups, often without anyone noticing. One person yawns, and a dozen follow. A rumor starts in one corner of the globe and spreads so fast that, within hours, millions believe they heard it, directly. Neuroscientists, using brain scans, have even watched as two strangers' brainwaves synchronize during conversation, like instruments tuning themselves to the same key. In those moments, the invisible connections between minds become almost tangible. Technology has amplified this phenomenon beyond anything Durkheim could have imagined. Social media, algorithms, and global networks have transformed our cultural mind into a high-speed superorganism. A breaking news story sparks outrage in multiple languages within minutes. Memes cross borders faster than any virus. Scientists studying network theory see patterns here that mimic neurons firing, each person a node, each shared post a signal pulsing through a vast web of human thought. This isn't telepathy, but it can feel eerily close when entire populations shift their opinions in near unison. Yet, the allure of something deeper, something beyond language and wires, has never faded. Some physicists and consciousness researchers speculate about quantum entanglement in the brain, suggesting that thoughts might be linked at a level we do not yet understand. Experiments in global consciousness have looked for subtle changes in random number generators during major world events, searching for evidence that human minds resonate together in measurable ways. The results are intriguing but far from conclusive, leaving science caught between fascination and skepticism. What remains undeniable is the lived experience. In music concerts where thousands move as one, in moments of global grief or joy, in the uncanny sense of knowing what someone will say before they speak. Whether these moments are the result of cultural conditioning, neurobiology, or some yet-to-be-discovered field, they remind us of our profound interconnection. Perhaps the truth of collective consciousness isn't only in proving it with instruments and equations, but in recognizing it in the way we live, an unspoken current, flowing between us all, shaping the great human story together.